Hello, hello, hello. How are you, everybody? Welcome to the Eden Journey podcast, a place of fellowship, communion, and community. I realized you say it the other way.
I realized too.
Yeah, why do you do that?
I don't know. I think hiyo ndo nilikram.
Okay, umekram. Uta put it into heart.
Hiyo ndo iko kwa heart.
It's not the abundance of your heart.
Zote nilikram na iko kwa heart.
Okay. Welcome to today's episode.
This is taking advantage of me because I'm tired. So she's bullying me. Anyway.
We're so glad you're here. Thank you so much for all the interaction you've given us on our previous videos.
Yes.
And we are so happy to be back.
Sure.
Say hi.
Hi, people of the internet.
Yeah, as you rally yourself up.
It's been a very long day, but we are still excited to have this conversation.
And we still have how many more episodes to shoot?
1.
Yeah. Okay.
Very excited.
Okay.
And but thank you for being here. We'll hopefully read your comments and all that in the next
episode. All right. So today's episode, I wanted to talk about intentionality in friendships. And this is because I recently watched a video that says conversations women avoid. And part of the conversations that women avoid, or just people in general, is the place of intentional friendships. And so I asked Joanne if she has any intentional friendships, and she said she doesn't want to answer that question. So we thought if she can't answer the question,
my intentional friend.
We are not talking about romantic relationships. Can we just agree?
See, my husband is usually like an exception.
We know. My husband, okay, so apart from the best friend that is there by law, by law and covenant,
by force,
lazima akue rafiki yako. Yeah, just talking about intentional friendships that are not romantic, and now, especially now in our late 20s, which is still a shocker to me. But yeah.
Late 20s.
So do you have any? What's your friendship situation like?
I think my friendships have evolved over the years, honestly. And the reason I'm saying that is because I realized for me, I made friends, or my friendships were stronger, for lack of a better word, when there was proximity. So for example, in campus, you make friends in campus and then you're good friends. But it was the proximity of us being in the same environment, going to the same classes, just being around one another that facilitated the friendship.
Okay.
Then maybe workplace. I don't think I've ever made friends at my workplace, which might be a sad realization. but I don't know. I don't think I've worked somewhere long enough to make friends. Like I have connections, I'd call them acquaintances.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think in all the places I've worked, I've carried like tight friends, just acquaintances who we keep in touch with. And then now in the space that I'm in right now, I think now the lack of proximity, one, and then also the lack of just being around one another, because we also moved to a different town, so the friends I had in the other town, hakuna hiyo proximity.
Okay.
So I'm learning to now do friendships without the proximity, which is really, really hard. I think I relied on the proximity. We're in the same town, maybe I'm free, I can come see you, we can have coffee, the proximity. Like I know for us, proximity has helped.
Us, me and you?
Yeah.
You and I?
Yeah, you and I.
Okay.
I don't think that's the only thing that's helped. I think intentionality
I thought we were more deep. Wow,
we
proximity,
are.
Joanne. Yeah, just because we exist in Nairobi.
We are. But even for us, we were friends in campus. We were friends. KSL, we weren't really friends.
Yeah, you dumped me in KSL.
Yeah.
When you got a new phone, I'll never forget. Tulikuwa kwa ile bridge ya KSL. I'll never forget that day. Ukweli, let me tell you the story. Keep grudge. It's just a memory. It's a core memory of our relationship.
What happened with the
the bridge between, where the admission, the bridge. The bridge.
I remember that day, but...
Yeah. You remember the day? You got the new phone. It was a Samsung. That's the last time I saw you. I was like, guy.
But why are you relating it to that phone?
Because that's the last conversation that we had.
That I got a new phone.
Yeah. And I don't know why it was that you got a new phone. I don't know what was happening in our lives. But I remember
there's a lot
that was happening, yeah?
We were young also.
And Were we? Okay. So, but also okay. So, we had that conversation. And then, the next time I'm seeing you, you are running a course.
Yeah, I was teaching online.
That you are not making any money. Joanne,
usiongee hivyo.
were you making money?
I was making money.
How much money were you making?
That's not the topic of discussion today.
So
Anyway.
that is a commemorate. The next time I remember us talking was very later on in life. I think we'd both finished KSL. I think we were even admitted.
Yeah, we were. We were actually, we were admitted.
We were like living our lives.
Admission.
Then now we reconnected.
So now you see the proximity.
So proximity made us friends. Okay.
Proximity contributed to the
friendship.
Closeness.
Okay.
To the, say that.
To the closeness or to the friendship?
To the friendship and then the closeness.
Okay.
Both things. And then now after that, I think now when we reconnected later, we were a bit older and there was the shared values. I think there's just a lot that has contributed to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for me, I've noticed that proximity has been the major factor in my friendships. And without it, it's almost like I'm relearning. I'm genuinely relearning doing friendships minus the proximity. Okay. I don't know if that's the same experience you had.
I think yes, but I also find that I've carried friends.
Yeah, you carry.
I've carried. But that's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, it can be.
Because the question is, we've carried each other this far, but are we really friends or do we just exist? And yeah, because I was thinking about it because I have a friend who I've carried since primary. And she's my friend. I'd call her my friend, right? It's just that maybe we're in different seasons of life. And maybe that's also another question to ask. Yes. That the different seasons produce different needs and produce different things.
And different expressions in the friendship.
That's true.
You show up differently.
So, yeah, I think I've carried that one. I carried a few through campus, but I think they've fallen along the way. I think it's just you. Wow.
From campus? Interesting.
I don't think there's anyone else. Yeah, there are a couple of them.
But you'd call them acquaintances at this point.
But sasa kwani friend ni nini?
I think a friend, maybe someone who you're doing life with.
What is doing life?
You're involved in each other's life in a certain way, to a certain degree. They are aware of what's going on in your life. You're aware of what's going on in their life. You're offering each other support. You're... carrying one another, showing up for one another, carrying one another's burdens. Yeah.
So it's that there's an intertwinkling. Is it intertwining? Wow, twinkling of life and everything. Yeah, okay. Then if we say it like that, yeah, I think they've morphed from friends to more of acquaintances, but it's someone that who would also call you for something and you'd still show up, right?
Yes.
In the workspace,
have you ever made friends at work?
Yeah.
Okay,
but
you
have.
I don't know. It's such a foreign concept for me.
But also I've worked in very limited number of organizations because the law firm that I was before, I worked there from when I was a pupil. When I was a pupil, and I left after admission. So that's a long period of time. Then we moved to the NGO, didn't stay there for long, so didn't make any. But now where I am now, that has changed as well. Yeah.
I think also the environment of the organization maybe facilitates
that. Yeah.
But if it's an organization where you've worked in where people are just coming, doing their own lives then, or maybe the values the organization promotes doesn't really.
So let me ask, in this particular season that you're in, do you feel the need to invest now in friendships outside of the idea of proximity?
Definitely. I'm always wondering, okay, so how do I grow these friendships? And I think other than proximity, I think my personality is also very independent. Maybe it's growing up as the only girl or the firstborn girl. I've always just been independent-minded. I never get into a space and think, okay, so I need friends.
Okay.
I never get into an environment and immediately find a group to attach myself with. I've, like, for example, the church I had served in for more than 8 years. I genuinely, other than one friend, I don't think I ever made solid connections outside the serving. So I think it's also a personality thing. I don't, I am learning how to, Mbaka, there was a time I was asking you, Kwani, do I make my friends feel like I don't need them? Remember when I asked you that? I was like, Kwani, do I, in that, unaanga tu, Joanna ko sawa, wacha tu, okay, she has other friends, good for her. So I think that my personality might make my friends feel like Joanne is self-sufficient on her own.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like I need to be more vulnerable with friends or express myself more or show up more. I don't know, maybe that's something I should think about. But in terms of proximity, definitely. I think I need to now learn how to invest in those friendships outside now the proximity. And there's something you also mentioned, that sometimes friends don't know how to show up for you if you don't share. So you blame them for not showing up, but then you didn't
tell
share.
them how you wanted them to show up. Yeah.
Or reaching out to them and wondering, how do I show up for you in this season and all that. So it's a learning point for me.
Yeah. I think I'd say, because I also firstborn child. Firstborn daughter. It's correct. 2 brothers after. Also very, very, very independent. But I don't know, in the recent few years, I found Victor and I were asking ourselves, who are our people? Yeah, just not casual. We meet each other in church. We meet each other in events. You know, there are people who you meet, you meet in church, you meet in events, and you think you're friends because you banter and you have a good conversation. But I don't know if you call them in the middle of the night, if they'd get up to come and, and help.
Yeah.
And it's also not just about calling in the middle of the night, but who do you also want to share the seasons that you go through in life? And now I found myself really wanting that, right? Constantly, not always, how do I say it, having to explain yourself to someone. You know, sometimes new friendships feel like new relationships. Like, what is your favorite color? You know, there's a knowing of each other. But to have those very intentional, tight-knit friendships that carry through the seasons of life, right? And I found myself very yearning of that. And now asking myself, how do I position myself per se to receive that and to be that?
Yeah.
And
there's someone who said that if you want a village, you have to be willing to be a villager.
Yeah.
So receiving and giving.
And giving, right? So now I've started to go back to, okay, these people, I consider these people my friends. And I actually wrote down a list and said, okay, what is my, I don't say contribution in their life, but do I know what is going on? Or do we just meet? Because there's my friend who's telling me, Shiro, the one who was here for after I do. And we're saying, if we don't take care, we'll be seeing each other in events. And that's true. Because we sometimes can find, the meaning of friendship can be found in the things that you do, but not in the people that you are. So, yeah, I can say and that's why I like the conversation that was happening on that conversation with Shiko Mpumi, yes, the conversation that women avoid. Because they're saying we're so willing to fight for romantic relationships, but not willing to fight for friendships.
True.
And the same way in a romantic relationship, there'll be hurt, there'll be seasons of frustration, there'll be need for communication. Because that's also something now, the same way you're asking how you asked me if your friends know they need you. For me, it's communication. I'm working on it.
Daisy is so bad at communication. Daisy is terrible.
Am I not trying?
You are. Like, I'll post something in our group and I'll have to remind. Kuna siku tu nakumbushanga Daisy, umekonfirm alisema nini? I'm like, don't you read
I
this
was like,
text?
sometimes
So
I read,
sometimes you read it.
and then I put it at the back of my mind.
Or
But now I'm
you-
learning to be present, because also it's I don't know. There's a lot going on. We're working on in other spaces, but it's that for be able to communicate that I'd like for you to show up for me in this way. Could you also tell me how you, because people don't receive love the same way, and it's the same thing with friendships. It's the same way you would receive me, the way I'm showing up for you in terms of maybe gifts or maybe presents or maybe a phone call, but that's not the same way it reciprocates. I receive that love. So I think now I'm really intentional. I want to understand, nataka kukua very sure who is in my circle and who is not, so that I'm not placing responsibility where it is not needed or where it is not required. Don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm not expecting from Joanne something that I've not communicated is something I'd like to receive from her. Right. So I've really found myself asking very interesting questions. It's like, why is this person my friend? Is John my friend because we do the podcast, right? So the day the podcast will end, minus the podcast, I have no other link to you. And it's fine because there are relationships that are seasonal and they are for a specific purpose. And sometimes when that purpose ends, it's okay to say it was good. There's nothing wrong with us parting ways, but it's over. Okay, hiyo imesound ni kama soap opera. Ile Alejandro akisema it's over. No, but it's just we've both served what we needed to do, and it's great.
But do you think people should break up in friendships?
I don't think they should break up, but it's okay to say, let's take a pause, but you're not.
Why stay? See,
so you want us to stay in limbo?
Not limbo. Like if I know you're in a season that is overwhelming or you have other focuses, Nini, see, I can just understand. And why do I need to now communicate?
Overwhelming is something different. I'm saying where purpose has ended. That's what I'm saying. Let's say, for example, our purpose was this podcast, right? Then God helps you. You relocate. You and Nick relocate to the States, right?
To Canada.
To Canada. You want to go to Canada? Okay, to Canada. Haya, mumeenda Canada. And you've decided now that's where you're living your life. Kenya is somewhere you'll just be coming and visiting, right? You see, the vehicle, I'm not saying that's the only reason we're friends, but it's good to define. Kama sasa hii story ya podcast imeisha, lakini tunaweza kuwa marafiki. Kama pia hatuwezi kuwa marafiki, it's also okay.
That's okay. I'm just wondering now, do we give each other ultimatums? That
it's not
now,
an ultimatum.
Me, I've moved to Canada. I don't think that our friendship can be sustainable anymore.
The sustainability has changed, Joanne.
I'm just saying that sometimes we put ultimatums where they don't need to be.
It's not an ultimatum, it's clarity.
For instance, you can just acknowledge that the season has shifted. Both me and you know I've moved to Canada. We can't shoot the podcast. It's obvious. So it's okay to just allow the emotions to move.
So tunyamaza tu hivyo, group imenyamaza tu hivyo, tujui.
Si tunajua, si you know and I know.
No, Joanne, you see? No. Can the lines be very clear? Because I feel like I've suffered a lot in the blurriness of lines.
Now, for example, what's clear in the fact that I'm no longer around?
Let me tell you, see, these are facts. There are facts on the ground, right? You have moved to... Please don't move.
I'm not moving.
Okay.
I love Kenya.
Yes. We can go and visit. To Canada.
Australia.
Oh gosh, why are they changing?
Australia now.
Okay.
Because it's an imagination I can change.
Let me also move. I can also move. Okay, let's say I've gone to England.
Australia.
And then, you see, is it fair for me to just tell you, nimeenda, na nime relocate? Don't you think I owe you a conversation of, Joanne, my life has transitioned, my life has moved, I've gone to England. Victor and I have decided we want to go and live there. Right? And because of this, it's like we put a pause on the podcast, or we say it's time imeisha because of proximity, or we find another way to do it. But my point is, it is good to always communicate. Wow, look at who's talking about communication.
No, I agree with what you're saying.
Wow, the growth croquet.
I'm just saying that now I can't put ultimatums.
It's not
on
an
you.
ultimatum. Why are you feeling like it's an ultimatum? Why are you becoming defensive? Can we talk about that? Why are you being so defensive?
Because I feel like ultimatums, and I'm just like, girl,
it's not an ultimatum. It's just, this is a fact. This is actually the reality that we're not saying the friendship has ended, right? But we're saying it has transitioned. And it's okay for it to transition. I think for me, that's my point, right? It's just like we were. You've had this conversation with a friend. I know. The season has moved, right? Proximity meisha. They're expecting you to show up a certain way, and you can't. Instead of her feeling hurt, it's good for both of you to communicate. Where the season where I could show up for you like this, the way that you want, I can't. And see, there's nothing. I feel like we also, you're carrying weight that is unnecessary. That we can just communicate, and I can let you know this is currently where I'm at, and that's okay because that's where I am at.
The communication of where each of us is at, I agree with.
And that communication, what will it lead to? Because it can lead to something. Because you has led to something.
Definitely communicate, but I don't think there should be now because you didn't show up for me this way, the way you used to, then now I think the friendship should end.
But there are people who think like that.
Now that me, I don't particularly think like that.
So in limbo?
No, I've said the communication of where both of us are is okay, I agree. Let's communicate. But then now if you cut off, because we're also leading into cutting off.
I'm not saying people to cut each other off.
That's what I'm hearing.
Why are you hearing that? Who have you cut off?
No one. I'm just here. What I'm hearing is if the friendship is not bearing fruit the way it used to, let's cut each other off.
It's not cut each other off. It's okay to say, to me pause. But I can't show up like that.
Why do we have to say? See, we just pause.
So you don't there to be a conversation?
We can have a conversation about where you're at and where I'm at.
And
then what is at that? See, now you've told me you're moving to Canada. Already in my mind, I already know that.
Why are you assuming? Maybe nataka tuko tunafanya na Zoom.
Si sasa utaniambia.
This looks like a very messy therapy session.
Please tell us what you think in the comments.
Yeah, but my point is...
What I agree with you is the communication. Yeah. I just feel like the conversation. I just feel like sometimes we rush into dismissing, cutting off friendships because they don't look like what they used to
in a different season.
In a different season. Yet we could give it some grace. Like now, for example, the people you say you were close to before, now they're acquaintances. You never had conversations with them. Most
and I
likely.
wish we did.
Okay. So mimi zingine,
they've run their course.
But then pali tumefika, it's not like we don't talk or we can't talk.
Talking,
we can talk. If something happens in your life and I see it's a tragedy, I'll comment, I'll be there, nini. But then because of the shifting seasons, we know this is where you're at, this is where I'm at, and it's okay.
Okay, can I say something?
So letting it just flow.
I have two thoughts to that, but now one of them has gone away. Now I'm remaining with the one.
It wasn't valid.
I wanted to say, the thing that you're failing to realize is that we can say we've paused it, but 2 years down the line, we can reconnect.
Yes.
Right? But you see, if we had a conversation, there's no awkwardness when we're coming back together. There's no, you left me on the bridge when you bought a new phone.
Why haven't you healed about?
I've healed. I'm just saying. It's an example.
Clearly you're projecting. Manojahil, I'm sorry for leaving you on that bridge. I should go back to that bridge and I apologize. Pole Aki.
You
I abandoned
I
you.
know you.
When you needed me the most. So sorry. Anyway, finish.
So that's me second question. I'm saying the
Caribbean
conversation
mic.
will help. Sorry. To reduce any awkwardness, right? That's number one. That's what I wanted to say. Number two, I wanted to say, then if you say that we can just leave it at that, then are we, whether you said friendship is doing life together.
Yes.
Are they then in your inner circle?
No.
Then we're saying the same thing. That the conversation, whether the conversation happened or not, there's a way this person has just fallen away,
Yes,
right?
I agree.
You agree? Exactly. So my point
so
is
what
the
you're saying,
conversation
we should
is
have a
necessary.
conversation to transition them to
Not
the next
necessarily
level,
to transition, to
from
just
inner
understand.
circle to outer circle. The conversation will help them move.
I feel ni kama itapea mtu perspective. Yeah.
I agree.
It will give me perspective on so that I'm not expecting something from you that you've already disassociated from. Because I feel that's also a lot of where the heart in friendship comes from. Ati hakukuja na nilimuita. But ujamwongelesha 1 year na yeye alisonga. You have an expectation from somebody who is not even there. Yeah.
I agree. Generally, I do agree. I also think it's not a one shoe fits all.
It's not.
There are some conversations, there are some friendships you do have that conversation. There are some you just allow to follow.
Yeah. But I think what I'm saying and the intentionality that I'm desiring now in friendship is to the honesty. I want, one of the things, we were doing an activity at work and they said you should name one of your traits. And when I thought about it, one of my traits is loyalty.
That's true.
And sometimes that can be taken advantage
To
of.
a
So
fault.
maybe, yeah, exactly. So maybe I'm also coming from a place of unresolved issues.
Yeah, like being abandoned on a bridge.
Yeah, so you see, when people abandon me, I don't know what to do with abandonment. Because, so you see, leaving me in limbo, I'm unable to know, should this continue or has it ended? So I think also maybe that's the perspective that I'm seeing things from. So I think for me moving forward, I want, because I'm desiring that inner circle. You see, the problem with not defining it, you think everyone is that and they're not. And the other thing that marriage has taught me is to guard my space. And to guard my conversations a lot. Because I do not want to be in spaces where maybe something is spoken that affects or changes, like just, I don't sound like a Gen Z, but bad vibes and bad energy. That's very Gen Z like.
Yeah,
but protecting, you see how Jesus could go to Gethsemane with the 3. I'm really asking myself, who are my 3?
Like you want to be aware of.
Who are they?
One, who are the people? Yeah, who are the 3 so that you know how to apply
to be
yourself
present and for the 3.
So that
how
you're
to
not
show
overextending yourself for the other 12.
Thank you for coming to this conversation.
Okay. You're welcome. So you're not overextending yourself to the other 9. For energy, you should be giving to the 3.
Or vulnerability that you should be showing to the 3.
Yeah. So I think it's almost it's understanding because I believe every person has in their circles the friends they have. The friends should be in a hierarchy. I don't believe everyone who you call a friend should be your inner circle friend.
Exactly.
I don't believe that every person who is your inner circle friend. Anyway, I don't
and
know
there's
what that
inner
statement
circle.
means,
Let me tell you, Joanne.
The inner, like there should be, you should grade every friend.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the part I hadn't gotten to. For me, it was every person in the basket.
Oh.
But also it's because I didn't have many. But now I'm even reducing. Let me give you an example. I think realities of life are beginning to show me that you really do need the 3.
Yeah.
Right? My friend was having a conversation with my friend a while back. Now you see in
a circle,
not in just a random person. Not random. They're not random. I know I know this person. They were going through, and this is a while back. So not even now. They're going through postpartum, right? They'd gotten a child, and this was not even their first child. And theirs was so bad they would lock themselves in the house. Now, postpartum is not something you go announcing to everybody.
Yes.
It's only very few people know that you're going through.
Yes.
And one thing she was telling me is the people now in her circle, her inner circle, were the ones who would come to her door, knock, she'd abuse them, but they'll come back the next day. They'd come back, put like food there. She's not opening the door, but they'd still come back every day. And they came back every day until the day she opened the door. You get where I'm coming from? Yeah. So I started asking myself, because life is life. Can life? Yeah. So yeah, I think the whole it's the same way I took time before I got married, and now how I'm taking time in the marriage. I feel like I need to give that same kind of investment, but I need it to be. I don't know. Is that selfish?
I get you. No, it's not. I think now for me, that's how I think. So I didn't get it when you were saying, because for me, that's the natural thought process.
Okay.
It's normal for me to layer people like that until now we gotten to a place now where in my heart can trust you enough for me to call you an inner circle friend.
Okay.
By the time you're inner circle friend, you're there forever.
Okay.
So now even the ones who transition because of seasons of life, nini, in my mind they are still inner circle.
But what if they're not?
No, exactly. No, that's what I was saying. I was agreeing with you in terms of the conversation is important.
Okay.
So that you know, huyu alishatoka inner circle ako wapi? Okay. Sawa. Do you think also for women, I know we need to wrap this up, but do you think female friendships change after marriage? Did your friendships change? Sometimes people say that, when ladies get married, they abandon their friends.
When I got married, you are not married, but still friends.
So yeah, I agree.
I did get more married friends, I think. Yeah, but
didn't really change.
So
it's an individual.
It's an individual thing. I think.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Also agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think men and women view friendships very differently. Because when I was having this conversation with Victor, him is very clear. Hey,
about
who is his friend and who is not.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, guy. Hey.
Najua.
I'm just thinking, unaongeanga na mtu. Tunaongea lakini tunajua the boundaries. I said, wow, people, you live like this. This is how your mind works. Wow. Yeah. So I think also that has also challenged me, because he was asking me, you can't say everybody. It's not possible.
It's not.
So I think that's also really challenging me. Yeah. Anyway. How have your friendships
evolved?
Evolved. And how are you doing it more intentionally?
And now adult friendships. How easy or hard has it been for you to make friendships? Make friends now?
Made any new I've made one new friend.
Me too. I don't think I've made any friends in 5 years.
Oh no, I've made 2.
I've made acquaintances, work, nini, but
I think Unanata, this conversation that we're having about now, the inner circle, I think these are friends I've made now, to be honest.
That's good.
Or not even now, but in the past 5 years.
That's good. That's lovely.
Yeah, so people that I can tell there's something here. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to be intentional in your friendships?
Yes, definitely. Okay. And also be more open. Maybe I've not made new friends because wananionanga na nanko serious sana.
You're very serious.
Very serious. Yes. So, but I need to.
But even you're just ukwaje Joanne, niko poa. What's going on? Imagine before Joanne tells you anything. Hey.
Because I'm usually like, you called for a reason.
And I'm thinking that could be the reason I've called you. Yeah. So uko hivi.
Hiyo inamaanisha
umefunga kabisa.
Dafungua basi. Anyway, this has been like therapy to me, thinking and introspecting, and we should go back to it and see whether we've actioned. We should come back and have another conversation and see whether we've actioned what we've talked about.
And how difficult adult friendships are.
Tell us about it, really. Have you made new friends? Are you struggling to be new friends? Do you want to be our friends? We are
You
open
can be
to
a
new
friend by
friends.
subscribing.
Right?
You can subscribe. Imagine if you subscribe,
You're our
you're our
friends.
friend.
All by
Yeah.
today, around 500 plus people.
Imagine.
Friends.
Yeah.
By the time this video is being launched,
it's around 500
probably
and
more.
something. Yeah.
More.
More. Okay. All right.
Thank you for watching. I hope you relate to the video. I hope you've had a few laughs. Please don't. The new friends Daisy has gotten. Don't leave her at the bridge. Don't. Bridges are traumatizing for her. But we have made my peace. I've apologized. So we are good now. Please block that
Okay.
memory.
I've moved.
Or
I've
we go
moved on.
back. I apologize while we're there.
It's good. We're okay.
Okay.
It's just a core memory. You don't have core memories.
I do.
Yeah, it's just a very core memory
I
of our
do.
friendship.
That's very interesting. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Subscribe, like, comment, share, interact with us in the comment section.
See you in the next one.